I still remember that day as if it were yesterday. The sun was bright, the air smelled of freshly cut grass, and my heart was beating with a strange rhythm, a mix of pride, exhaustion, and something I couldn't quite name. It was my daughter's graduation day. For years, I had worked myself to the bone, taking double shifts, cutting back on everything I wanted, sacrificing sleep and health, all so my daughter, Emily, could reach this moment. I wanted her to have the kind of future I never got. Her cap and gown hung perfectly on her small frame. She looked radiant, with her bright eyes scanning the audience for familiar faces. I could feel the tears brimming in my own eyes as I watched her walk across the stage. But what I didn't know, what I couldn't have even guessed, was that this day, the one I had dreamt of for years, would also become the day my entire life shattered. The celebration. After the ceremony, we gathered in the auditorium hall where refreshments were served. Family, friends, classmates, everyone buzzing with laughter, hugs, and photos. I stood there, clutching my phone, capturing as many moments as I could. Emily came over, hugged me tightly, and whispered, "Mom, I did it because of you." That sentence alone could have been enough to make my heart explode with pride. But then, my husband, John, cleared his throat. It was the kind of throat clear that demanded attention, the kind that hinted something important was about to be said. Everyone turned toward him. Emily, me, our close friends, even a few distant relatives. John stood tall, his hand casually resting in his pocket. But what caught me completely off guard was the woman standing just a few feet away from him. She wasn't just some stranger. She was someone I vaguely recognized, a woman who had been around a few of our social gatherings. I had always assumed she was just a coworker or an acquaintance. She was dressed elegantly, with a smile tugging at her lips. And she stood a little too close to John. The announcement. John raised his glass and said, "Today is not just about Emily's success. Today is also about new beginnings. I want to share something with all of you." The room grew quiet. My heart began to pound. "I've decided," he continued, his voice steady and almost rehearsed, "to start a new life. A life without my wife." At first, I thought I had misheard him. The words didn't make sense. Start a new life? Without me? But then he looked directly at me, his expression completely unapologetic. "I've met someone else," he said, gesturing slightly toward the woman next to him. "And from today onward, I'm choosing to be with her." The silence in the hall was deafening. Glasses froze midair. Conversations died instantly. Emily's smile disappeared as shock painted her face. And me? I stood there, clutching my phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. The betrayal. I could hear whispers ripple across the room. Did he just? At his daughter's graduation? Oh my God. The woman next to John smirked slightly, as if she had won some grand prize. She didn't flinch, didn't look ashamed, didn't even try to soften the blow. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the glass of juice in my hand right at him. I wanted to collapse to the floor and let the world see how deeply I was being ripped apart inside. But instead, I smiled. Yes, I smiled. A strange calm washed over me, the kind that only comes when pain becomes too unbearable to show. I looked at John, then at the woman, and said, "Congratulations on your honesty." The room went pin-drop silent. The envelope. But I wasn't done. I reached into my purse and pulled out a small white envelope. I had been carrying it for weeks, a secret I had kept even from John. I had been saving it for the right moment. Ironically, this turned out to be that moment. I walked over to him, still smiling, and handed him the envelope. "Here," I said softly. He frowned, confused. "What's this?" "Open it," I replied, my tone steady. He tore it open casually, still trying to maintain his confident posture. But as his eyes scanned the paper inside, the color drained from his face. And then it happened. He screamed. Loud, angrily, desperately. Everyone in the hall turned, stunned, as John's composure shattered into 1,000 pieces. And I just stood there, watching him fall apart in front of everyone, still smiling. The room was suffocatingly silent after my words. I had just handed my husband an envelope in front of everyone, our family, our friends, our daughter in her cap and gown, still glowing from her graduation, and he froze as though I had thrown a live grenade into his hands. He looked at me with wide eyes, then at the thick envelope that seemed to burn his palm. Slowly, almost unwillingly, he tore it open. The sound of paper ripping was louder than any applause or laughter we had heard all day. His fingers trembled, and as he pulled out the stack of documents, his face turned the color of ash. Gasps echoed through the hall. Our daughter shifted nervously, clutching her diploma. His girlfriend, the one he had proudly brought to my daughter's graduation, leaned forward, curiosity gleaming in her eyes. She didn't know what was about to hit her. Inside the envelope were divorce papers. Not just any papers signed, sealed, notarized. I had been preparing for this moment for months. Every late night he claimed to be working late, every text message he tried to hide, every suspicious smile between him and that woman, it all led me here. Congratulations, I said softly but firmly, my voice carrying across the stunned audience. You are free now. Free to live your life without me, just as I will live mine without you. The whispers started immediately. Friends who had once admired our marriage leaned toward each other, their voices sharp with shock. His girlfriend's smug smile faltered. She reached for his arm, but he jerked away, his eyes darting across the pages, desperately searching for a loophole, some kind of mistake. But there was none. I had been the quiet, supportive wife for 20 years. I had stood by him when we had nothing, when we ate beans on toast for dinner, when we couldn't even afford a proper bed frame. I had built our home brick by brick, sacrificed my own dreams so he could climb the ladder. And this was my reward? To be humiliated in front of our daughter, discarded like a broken ornament? No, not today. Why? Why would you do this here? He stammered, his voice barely above a whisper, though the microphone in the hall carried it to everyone's ears. I tilted my head and looked at him calmly. Because this was the day you chose to destroy our family in front of everyone. You wanted an audience, didn't you? Well, here they are. I gestured to the sea of faces staring at us, eyes wide, phones already recording. Our daughter's lips quivered. She tried to step forward, but I gave her a reassuring nod. This isn't your burden, sweetheart, I whispered. This is mine to handle. His girlfriend shifted uncomfortably in her chair. The confidence she had walked in with was gone. Babe, she hissed under her breath, let's just go. But he wasn't moving. He was frozen, trapped in the very net he thought he'd thrown over me. The truth was that envelope contained more than just divorce papers. Behind them was a detailed breakdown of our finances, bank accounts, property deeds, evidence of money transfers he had made to support his double life. Evidence I had quietly collected, patiently filed, waiting for the day he would force me to use them. You think you blindsided me today, I continued, my voice rising, each word a blade, but the truth is I've known for a long time. Every lie, every betrayal, every moment you thought I wasn't paying attention, I was. The crowd was buzzing now. Guests who had been polite spectators were now fully engaged, whispering to each other, some even nodding in approval. You thought I would scream, cry, beg you to stay. I stepped closer, my eyes locked on his. But I don't beg. Not anymore. Instead, I choose freedom. I choose dignity. And I choose to never let you make me feel small again. For the first time, he looked afraid. Truly afraid. Because he realized this wasn't just about a marriage ending, it was about his reputation crumbling, his secrets being dragged into the light. The girlfriend stood abruptly, grabbing her purse. This is insane, she snapped, her face flushed with embarrassment. She stormed toward the door, and for a moment, he looked like a drowning man watching his lifeboat drift away. But I didn't feel pity. Not anymore. Our daughter, tears glistening in her eyes, finally walked up to me and held my hand. Mom, she whispered, I didn't know. I squeezed her hand gently. You don't have to know everything right now. Just remember this, your worth is never defined by how someone else treats you. The applause began slowly, one person clapping in the back of the hall, then another, until it spread like wildfire. Strangers, friends, even some family members stood, clapping for me, not because they enjoyed the drama, but because they recognized strength when they saw it. My husband lowered his head, clutching the papers like they might vanish if he held them tight enough. But nothing could save him now. As I walked out of the hall, my daughter by my side, I felt a strange calm. The storm had passed, and though the wreckage was scattered everywhere, I was still standing, stronger than ever. Before I left, I turned back one final time, my voice steady and unyielding. You wanted the world to see me broken. Instead, they'll remember me as the woman who refused to be destroyed. And with that, I walked away.